Oh, what a goal! Rick Williams, he's done it! He's done it! The Michigan goal in the first period for Rick Williams. Run, Pelkey scores! Pelkey! It's it!
And welcome back to the podcast. My name is always Derek Clark. It is episode, I don't even know, 16, 17? We've been doing this for so long, it's actually become to the point where I don't know. Also, sorry for the buzzing in the background. That is my fan. And we're going to just turn that bad boy off. I should have turned that off. Whoa, what the heck's going on here? There we go. We're going to keep that in because it's funny. There we go. The fan's off now. Welcome back to the show, podcast, wherever you're listening. Thank you for sitting down and enjoying this wild one, if you will. It's about, it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast. I'm not going to lie. It's 8:58 p.m. to be honest with you. Right next to the shores of Lake Ontario. Welcome back to Bullspitting with Derek Clark. My name is always Derek Clark. And it's episode, I think, 16, 17, 18, one of the two. Welcome back. Back in my humble abode of a single dorm room. Just me, myself, and I in this place. Starting to look like mine. Stuff sprawled out. Still haven't done much when it comes to the design of this place. But we're getting there. Yeah, just chilling right now. This weekend's a little crazy. This weekend, we just been chilling. The sports director side of me, we had one game. It was a women's soccer game. Our women's soccer program fell 2-0. But we used Stream 2, which isn't that big of a streaming wise, and we had a pretty good audience on Stream 2. For people who have no idea, we're on main radio, and we have a stream that we connect to, and Stream 2 is just for sports. And it was good to know that people listen to women's soccer at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. If you hear squeaking, I don't know who that was, but it was outside. But welcome back to the show. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to focus on what to think, what to talk about, what to think. I guess we could start with the fact that I have keys in my pocket. I was trying to reach for my phone. Well, we can start with the fact that there is a lot to talk about in the world of everything. By everything, I mean quite literally a lot to talk about. Let's go on the NASCAR side of this and just get it over with, because there is a crap ton of stuff to talk about. So let's just keep on moving on. So if you go on to think that this is going to be a crazy NASCAR playoffs, you are 1000% correct. The Xfinity Series race had about everything in it. Just a weird. I'm trying to figure out what to talk about first. Actually, right now as I look at my points, Friday night, Corey Heim won the Truck Series. He has 5 playoff points plus. He's already locked into the next round. Good for him. Keep on scrolling on, if you will. The Truck playoffs. Only 8 remain in the Truck playoffs, which, by the way, consists of Taylor Gray, Rajah Caruth, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez, Tyler Ingram, Grant Enfinger, and I believe, I don't even know who the other person is. Here, we'll look. People want Rajah, by the way, to win the Truck Series. I forget who's the 8th person. I'm not gonna worry about that. That was 7 out of 8, but you get the gist. I just named those people off the top of my head. Round of 12 has definitely kicked on the Xfinity side of it. The Xfinity winner, by the way, was... Well, it's a little interesting. The playoffs kicked off the CW aspect of the Xfinity Series, so I didn't get to see the Xfinity race at all because it was a race on CW. I don't have CW. The winner was Eric Almirola, which he's not in the Xfinity playoffs, so no one really won that side of the Xfinity series. I'm trying to just make sure I have everything correct here. I'm sorry, folks. I'm scrolling on my phone. Okay, now you're going to the fun part, the Cup race. Now, Kansas, this is a unique one because I actually want to sit down and talk about Kansas for a second. This is going to be like a race-focused podcast today because I have so much to talk about. The race, this one's actually going to be super fucking long. I think because this or at least not as normal of a length because I mean this is going to be a lot to talk about. So let's talk about it. So as I put my phone down. So speaking of Eric Almirola not being an Xfinity Cup or Xfinity playoff racer, a non-playoff racer won today in Ross Chastain. Interesting to say the least. Ross isn't in the playoffs. He wins. Yeah, I don't know how to word this. I don't. It's so weird to talk about Ross Chastain. I'm sorry, it's Kansas, folks. That's my main point of what I'm trying to state. It's Kansas. Just to put this in perspective, Kansas is a very boring track. Because nothing really happens in Kansas. Ross Chastain didn't even make the playoffs. Like he wasn't in the first round. Or in the second round, round of 12. He wasn't in the first round, round of 16. He just didn't make the playoffs. And he won. And good for him. I want to shout out Ross Chastain for the win. Obviously, it's good for him. But the point I want to get across is William Byron, who was in second for a good portion of this race. And out of nowhere, he's just not able to get the job done. I thought he was going to get a last lap miracle happen, but it really didn't compute. Also, there was a fire alarm that went off in my dorm building. Shout out to a specific person that listens to this podcast that lives in my dorm building that is a really good friend of me. Shout out to you for setting off the fire alarm. You know exactly who you are. Anyway, not important. Shout out to you, man. Actually, that was a joke. Shout out to you, man. I'm not going to name drop, but shout out to you, man. He knows who he is. He listens. We were literally talking about this before I started recording. So, literally talked to this guy. Dude, crazy side story. Literally talking to this guy before he sets it off. Go in my dorm building or room, and the alarm goes off. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, come on. And yeah, it was him. So, well, him and a buddy, because they were cooking some food. I'll be honest with you. But shout out to those guys. But anyway, Ross Chastain wins. Not a playoff driver. It ticked me off because I really wanted to roll William Byron away. To be honest, out of the remaining 12 drivers that are in the NASCAR playoffs, I think Ross Chastain really hurt a lot of people today because actually, hold up. I got a mic, bro. I'm gonna fix the mic. Folks, I'm very sorry about that. I had to fix the old microphone. Never had that ever happen to me. The mic is loose as fuck for some reason. I think we're good now. I have to hold it. So let's see if the stand will work now. Probably hear the stand underneath it. What's going on with this kid? Alright, the stand works. We're chilling. Okay, kind of. It's not really angling toward me. I don't know what's going on with this microphone. Okay, we figured it out. Derek doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but we got it. I guess. Oh, so welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. I've already stated that. Where was I? Ross Chastain. That's right. Ross Chastain really shook up these playoffs because William Byron should have been the winner today, even though Ross Chastain beat him by a mile, and I honestly don't. Ross Chastain had a good, like he led a lot of laps, blah blah blah. Like Ross Chastain deserves to win, but when it comes to the playoff side, William Byron should have won because now he's safe because of where he finished and where the other playoff guys finished. But this is another playoff race where the playoff driver does not win, and I'm not saying that the playoff driver should win every race. I'm not saying that. But when you look at the aspect of the playoff drivers, it really hurts them. So it like in that aspect, to me, it's now become a big deal that they need to start winning more. So I don't know what's going to happen next week when they hit the Charlotte Roval. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Don't nobody quote me on that. Nobody quote me on that. Actually, somebody's gonna quote me on that. NASCAR, please be the right race. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's Talladega. That's right. Okay, so yeah. So next week is Talladega. Then they hit the Charlotte Roval. So Talladega was super speedway action. The thing with Talladega is anybody could win, so that could be a factor as well. Like you never know. Carson Hocevar, for God's sakes, could win the race. I mean, he literally was in second today. I mean, Carson Hocevar actually had a fast car today for a good portion. So I don't know what's going to happen in the NASCAR Cup playoffs, but right now I really think William Byron is the guy to watch. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay, out of the NASCAR world because I don't want to keep yapping about NASCAR. I could keep yapping about William Byron and how he deserves to be in the real talk of being a superstar. I guess would be the words to use. He is a superstar, but you know what I mean, winning the playoffs. Okay, so the Super Motocross, the Motocross, and the finals all for 2025 dropped 2 days ago, and it's a little crazy. Because wow. So the Super Motocross schedule dropped, the Motocross schedule dropped, and the Super Motocross World Championship schedule, quote unquote, dropped. They just confirmed that they're going to do it again because remember, this is a quote unquote year by year thing for the World Championships. For the first, what is it, 5 years? If you don't make them profit or something, then they'll stop them. I think because this is a whole new thing. I forget the whole rules with that with AMA and the little fucking supercross thing. So let's talk about the schedule. I promised that I would deep dive into this schedule, and boy, is this supercar schedule about to be some crazy races. Not a surprise here. January 11th, kicking off the schedule. You go into round one, Anaheim, California. You run 2 races in Anaheim. The reason is because it's such a tradition at Angel Stadium. That's not a surprise. You go to San Diego week 2, not a surprise. You go back to Anaheim week 3, not a surprise. Week 4, go to Glendale, not a surprise. Week 5, go to Tampa. Now we're starting to get a little surprising because Tampa week 5 is a little early, I think. Usually they're going to Dallas, which, by the way, isn't till 2 weeks after because then they go to Detroit. This is still February. You're going to race February in Detroit, folks. February in Detroit, Michigan. Might be some snow on the ground. Arlington, Texas, February 22nd. That is round 7. Arlington, shout out the ugly ass Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys. Screw the Cowboys, go Texans. We barely beat the Jags today. I know we're gonna talk about that after this. I'm gonna have a rant about the Texans barely beating the Jags. Daytona Beach after Arlington. No surprise here. Daytona Beach, Florida. Run it right at Daytona International Speedway, right on the straight. Love that place. Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, Indiana. No surpriser. Then the surprising starts kicking in. You go into round 10. Birmingham, Alabama. They're bringing it back. Home of the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL and UAB, of course. Right there at Protective Stadium. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if Birmingham was a good race. I don't know. The crowd was into it, so I guess that aspect of people showing up is a good thing. So, but it's one of the smaller stadiums that they run in. Like I believe Birmingham. Let me look that up. I believe Protective Stadium is 25,000 seater. see. Protective stadium capacity. Oh, no. Whoa. Never mind. It's 45,000. Why does it look really... It's still not the biggest stadium. Like, 45,000 is actually still the smallest stadium they run. I'm not going to lie. I think... Yeah, that is because... Yeah. Because all the other stadiums are... Unless Angel Stadium's smaller. No way, Angel Stadium is smaller. Because then I'd be literally shit-talking Birmingham for no reason. No, they're 50 more than... They're 50 more than Protective. So I can firmly say Angel Stadium is bigger. So I don't know. That's crazy. 45,000. It doesn't look like 45,000. Look up Protective Stadium. If you're listening to this right now, go look up Protective Stadium, and you'll be like, "There's no way that's 45,000. Like that doesn't look like 45,000. It's just 2 decks, and the second deck's only on like half the stadium. You look at it. There's a reason why there's a spring football, like a professional spring football league team playing there. There's a reason why the Stallions play there. Also, the Stallions, not a shocker that they win the UFL championship. They won 2 USFL championships. We'll talk about spring football when spring football kicks in, and I hope people know about the UFL. If you don't know about the United Football League, we'll definitely be chatting it up on this podcast. Their season is literally right after the Super Bowl in March. It's a good league to watch if you're really into football. I'm into football, and there's some names I know that play in it. That's mostly the reason why I watch it. Is I like to watch the guys who are trying to make their name. Destroying kicker on YouTube plays in it. Played for the Birmingham. Played for the San Antonio Brahmas, which is a type of bull, by the way. Anyway, where was I? Birmingham. Surprised you're the captain once again. Birmingham. Crazy place. All the Anaheim, like the races prior to the year, not shockers. They are not shockers. Then you go into Birmingham. Then here goes another one. Go back to Seattle. W choice. Seattle's crazy. Seattle's freaking nuts. If you literally never watch Supercross, Seattle's one of the races you should watch. Anaheim's one of the races, because it's a staple. But the crowds at Seattle's crazy, which is a big shocker because Seattle is a very interesting city that does not like carbon emissions. So I'm shocked that the Supercross schedule even gets to be able to race in Seattle at Lumen Field, home with the Seattle Seahawks. Foxborough, this is where we get interesting, boys. Foxborough, home of the Patriots. This is the part of this. This is actually the literal 4 races from round 12 to round 15 are the 4 races I want to talk about. Foxborough, home of the Patriots. Then you go to Philadelphia. I went to Philadelphia last year when they ran for the first time in over 30 years. The stadium is trash. I'm not going to lie. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, your stadium sucks. Please renovate it. The rules are crazy. I did not like it. The race was great. The seats were fine. I just didn't like the stadium. I'm sorry. Then East Rutherford, New Jersey. They're going to MetLife, home of the Giants and the Jets. And then you go to Pittsburgh, Acrisure Stadium. I believe that's not the stadium. Is it the Steelers Stadium? Yeah, it is. It is the Steelers Stadium. For some reason, I thought it was Pittsburgh University Stadium, even though I think Pittsburgh plays where the fucking Steelers play. So what the hell am I talking about? These are the 4 races I actually want to talk about. This is the deep dive I want to go in. So you go from Washington State, Seattle, Washington. On March 29th, you get a week to get to Foxborough, home of the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I'm swearing a lot. I usually don't swear a lot in these podcasts, but today I feel it. Foxborough, home of the Patriots. Good race. This is a race that don't appear a lot. This is a race that pops in every other year or every 3 years, and it's back. And then next, you bring in Philadelphia again. Now, let me tell you something. Philadelphia, I was there. I was physically there. The race was great. The atmosphere was great. The stadium sucks. I'm going to go on a rant about Philadelphia for like a solid 2 minutes. Here's what I didn't like about Philadelphia, and here's what I loved about Philadelphia. And I wish I had the podcast when I went to Philadelphia because I literally want to talk about this shit. Went to Philadelphia. Shout out my brother. He got the tickets. It was our first ever Supercross race. My brother grew up watching Supercross, and he got me into the sport, and that's why we're into Supercross. We build race cars and stuff, and they're in the shop. We haven't raced in 2 years, but we're normally racing 4-wheel cars, so dirt bikes aren't a shocker to me. But we have friends that race dirt bikes, and my brother was really big into it, like when Ricky Carmichael and them were racing. He grew up in that atmosphere, so it was my brother Devin, shout out Devin, for getting me into it. And so we've been into it since really COVID. COVID's when we first, when my brother got back into it, and then I got into it because I mean, it was just crazy in that time. So yeah, let's talk about this. Philadelphia. Philadelphia holds a special place in my heart. Um, because Philadelphia is where my life was saved. I was born with a rare disease. Um, I was flown to the Child Hospital of Philadelphia, aka CHOPD, and I was saved there. I was the fourth baby in the world to have the miracle surgery. There's a whole thing about me. I don't really like to get onto it because I've never physically been there. When we went to the race in Philadelphia, I was able to actually see the hospital where my life was saved, and it's a whole thing, and I felt very powered by it in the aspect of this is where I was saved. I unfortunately have still yet to ever meet the doctor that saved my life, but that is one of my life goals. I don't like talking about it much because I don't feel like it's important to talk about it because this is life, but there's your serious moment. So, in that aspect, it was really nice. I get to the stadium. One thing I love about Philadelphia, their fan culture is pretty toxic. But I will say something very clear. I love how the stadiums are set up in Philadelphia. The football field, the baseball field, and the hockey rink slash basketball arena that house the four major sports of Philadelphia. Plus, you have their professional lacrosse team, I think, still, and then you have their does Philadelphia? Yeah, they have the Water Dogs. Well, they only play there like once a year, but the Philadelphia Water Dogs still count. And then you have your WNBA team, I think. Doesn't Philly have a WNBA team? Oh no! They have an indoor lacrosse team. That's right. The Philly Wings or whatever. You have all these teams. They play there. The layout is great. All three stadiums are literally just one giant parking lot and three stadiums. Freaking love it. I love it. It's literally voted as one of the greatest parking accessibility sporting complexes in the country, if not the world. I think it was the country though, of the United States, based out of all the four major sports leagues. I love that aspect. Go into the stadium, which is um, Lincoln Financial Field. Immediately started realizing why this place kind of sucked. One, it's illegal. It's illegal by stadium rules to have a cap on your drink. You have to have no cap on your drink, which I feel is very, very freaking wrong. But it's because some dumbass broke it. It made that, people made that rule because some dumbasses are mean fucks. That's the simplest way to put it. And I'm sorry I'm swearing a lot, folks. I'm just going to be completely blunt with you. I didn't like that because, number one, some weirdo could drug me, but to be real with you, but also the aspect of there could be sick people and you never know we could catch. Three, the seats are lit, I'm not gonna lie. The one problem I had, the the concession stands, there's not enough. Like, I'm not saying there's not enough. I'm not saying there's not enough concession stands. I'm saying there's not enough supplies. I don't know if they underestimated how many people were going to be there. I think that's what they did. Because out of I think Lincoln Financial Field's a 70,000 seating stadium. I'd say there's probably, I think the official head count was over 40,000 fucking people. So, not gonna lie, you gotta get a grip on things. Um, but my major thing I have with this stadium is one thing. One thing that even my brother and my dad all complained about. Okay, one thing is the seats are really close, and I mean, you're basically hugging the other person next to you. But the major thing we complained about was how insanely crazily tight, like crazily tight, the walkways were. We were exiting the stadium, and like the herd of people were. I couldn't move. I'm gonna be blunt with you. You can't move. You can barely walk forward. It's tight as fuck. It was narrow, and that was not good in my mind. Um, I didn't. I don't know. I'm not saying the race at Philly was dog shit. I mean, I literally watched Triumph get their first ever heat win in supercross, thanks to Jalik Swole, who is an amazing rider. I got to watch him at Unadilla. Amazing guy, amazing kid. I think the kid can win a 250 championship. Um, Hell, I think he deserves to be on the 450 when they get the 450 team going. Triumph released a 450. That's another thing. Um, but yes, Philadelphia, while I think it is a good fit, sorry for the long pause, I'm trying to grip my words here. While I think it's a great fit for the schedule, I still don't think it's a good idea to have the race in the aspect of the fan experience. They only had one gate open, never informed us, the people that were parked on the other end of the stadium, that they only had one gate opened. It was a whole shit show. They definitely underestimated people. There's a lot of people. There were a lot of people, and they're diehard fans. So then they go to MetLife. MetLife is great. I've had a buddy go to MetLife. Shout out to my buddy. I know you're listening. I don't name drop a lot of people except my brother Devin. How you doing? I've had a few buddies go to MetLife. I've had a few buddies go to Foxborough, and they've both said that they are both better stadiums than Philadelphia. So, and I love the race in East Rutherford. So, W scheduling there. Pittsburgh. I cannot tell you when was the last time they raced at Pittsburgh. Matter of fact, they don't have it in the comments. I thought maybe they'd have it in the comments. They don't. It's crazy to think this. That there's gonna be a race in Pittsburgh, home of the Patriots, home of the Penguins, the Steelers, the Pirates, and that's it. They don't have a baseball team. They need it. They have a baseball team. I'm sorry, Jesus. They don't have a basketball team. They deserve one. I think they should be the Pittsburgh Steel. Not to just play on words of the Steelers, but to just be a dope name. I think the NBA should expand to Pittsburgh. Final thoughts. I hope it's a W race. I know Pittsburgh has a beautiful stadium. It's, by the way, if you don't know, it's Acashire. It used to be Heinz Field. I know. Now it's Acashire Stadium. It's a beautiful place. Empower Field at Mile High. No shit. Denver, Colorado's back, baby. I love the race in Denver. And then you go to Salt Lake City, like a tradition, and race in Utah, right there at Rice Nicholas Stadium. And that's how the Super Motocross schedule ends. My predictions will be next week on who I think. We have plenty of time. January 11th is not around the corner. It's 3 days before my birthday, but definitely not around the corner. So we'll definitely be talking that in a later date. It might actually not be next week. It might be a few weeks. We're going to talk about the motocross schedule, and we're going to get this one fast. Fox Raceway, Hangtown, Thunder Valley, High Point, Southwick, Redbud, Spring Creek, Washougal, Ironman, Unadilla, and Budds Creek. Literally the 11 same rounds as last year. Starts May 24th, ends August 23rd. They get 10 days or 14 days to get ready, 2 weeks to get ready to run motocross. Yeah, and then after that, the top 22 drivers overall in both Supercross and motocross points battle it out, and or the top 40, I'm sorry, the top 20 in each, and just have fun with it. I get tired. Wow, I'm yawning on the podcast. I'm getting tired because I'm not gonna lie, I think the motocross schedule should get shaken up. I think it should be shooken up. I think, There's probably people that are listening to this podcast right now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, you go from Paula, California, to Rancho Cordova, California, and then Lakewood, California, and then you go to Mount Moores, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, that's not California. That's Lakewood, Colorado. Anyway, Jesus, you go from California to California, then Colorado, then you go to PA. Like you go across the country to Pennsylvania, and you're like, oh, they're gonna stay there for a minute. Kind of. They go to Southwick, Massachusetts, which is staying there, and then they go to Michigan, which is still there, and then you go to Minnesota, then Washington State, then Indiana, then back over to New York. Shout out Unadilla, baby. Been there back-to-back years. Been there last 2 years. We went to Unadilla 2 years ago for the first time. Unadilla's freaking crazy, as they call it, Unifuckadilla. Unifuckadilla, like the Unadilla is nuts. It's crazy. We brought our one buddy, my dad's buddy, there for the first time. He had a blast. Unadilla is crazy. I've literally talked about it on the podcast. Unadilla is fucking nuts. And then they go to Budds Creek. Like, Budds Creek is literally crazy. But that's actually the one thing I want to talk about. The one thing about the schedule. They did shake this schedule up a bit. Because is it the second year? Yeah, the second year in a row, Ironman's not the last race. Usually it goes Unadilla, Budds Creek, Ironman. Unadilla is usually the third to last. This year, they're second to last. They have Ironman, Unadilla, Budds Creek. Last year, it was Unadilla, Ironman, Budds Creek. So, interesting there, to say the least. Okay, out of the Supercross and Motocross schedules, talk quickly about Triumph. Triumph released a bike a few weeks ago. They officially released their 450. It looks good. It's a 450, literally with basically the same design as the Triumph's yellow and black and stuff. So they will have a 450 team. I know Beta is going to have a 450 and 250 team. I know Beta started on the... There's a weird story here. Triumph started on the 250s and they gained a 450 team. Beta did the opposite. They started 450 and now they're on the 250 and 450s. Weird thing there. Which I don't know when Beta starts that exact process. I think next year as well, with Triumph being, they will both be a 450 and 250 team. Now, I will say this once and I will say it again. I think Derik Swoll kind of has an opportunity here to be a 450 rider, and I think, yes, he needs to develop and all that stuff. And I feel the crazy part when you look at Triumph. Triumph's a very young team. They have Derik Swoll and they had Joey Savacci. Now, Joey Savacci parted ways with Triumph because he sucked. I'm going to be blunt with you. He freaking sucked for a really good portion. And I think Derik Swoll has a good opportunity to be one of the 450 riders. But I don't think they will give it to him. And it's completely understandable on why. But it also completely makes sense on why he should be a 450 rider. Has he won a race? Technically, yes, he's won heat races. Has he won a moto? Technically, no, but he's podiumed multiple times for the team. He's won a moto. He's never won a whole motos in a whole motocross event. But he's won a moto. He's podiumed many a time in events in motocross. He's won heat races in Supercross. He's podiumed in Supercross. Like, this guy really has shown potential in the 250 class. But the problem is, I just feel like Triumph thinks that he needs to develop. And he does need to still develop, but he is a really good rider. And I would not be shocked if he did get an opportunity to be one of those 450 riders. Okay, out of Derik Swoll, out of the Triumph news, we go into Derik's rant about the Houston Texans because he's a football fan and he's going to just rant about it. Before I start that rant, yes, I know the NHL preseason is starting. Yes, I know the Ducks are currently 1-2 in preseason, but once again, it's preseason and there's a bunch of guys in the AHL that are down wearing Duck jerseys playing against the Kings in the middle of Ontario, so please don't rant about that, Derik, because honestly, it's just preseason, and I won't. We will now rant about the Houston Texans. The Texans won 24-20 today in the great state of Texas. a city that I actually, believe it or not, I've never actually, I don't remember ever, it's crazy. I'm a Houston, Texas fan. I'm from Texas, but I was closer to Dallas than Houston, so I've never been to Houston. But I digress. I've been to Dallas plenty of times. I've been to San Antonio plenty of times as well. Both really good cities, beautiful places. Yeah, the Texans have a little bit of a rough day. And here's why. The final score, Texans 24, they improve to, or Texans 24, Jags 20. Texans improve to 3-1. Jags fall to 0-4. They still have not yet won a game. The Jags, by the way, had the lead for a majority of this fucking game. Why do I am getting upset and a little frustrated in my vocals is because the Texans need to get their shit together. I will highlight one player at the end of this game, and I think a lot of you know who it is. And I also will highlight actually two players, and I'll give you the stat standings and all this fun stuff. Okay, ready? Sit down, get a beer. The Jags scored the first touchdown because of a fucked up punt return by Sims, who ironically did not return the next punts. He scored a touchdown the next play, and they get the lead. They're up 7-0. We respond to the game 7-7. They get a field goal. It's 10-0. It's 10-7 Jags. Then guess what? The Texans score a touchdown in the half, 14-10. And at the half, the Jags kick a field goal. Guess what? It's 13-14. Guess what? They score a touchdown. Oh shit. Guess what the fucking score is? 20-14. It was 20-14 for a fat amount of time. Guess what? We kick a field goal though. It's 20-17. And then the Texans scored a touchdown with about 18 seconds remaining in the football game. Texans win 24-20. Overview thoughts? Laramie Tunsil, get the fuck out of our line. Why the fuck is this guy playing football? Why the actual fuck is Laramie fucking Tunsil still on our line? The dude has 11 fucking penalties. 11 fucking penalties. One more penalty, he'd have the same number as Nico Collins' jersey number, dude. He's matching player numbers. At this point, he wears the number 78. I would not be surprised if he had 78 fucking penalties at the end of the freaking 18 weeks. The guy needs to figure it out. Yes, I understand that he is literally a 99% success rate when it comes to allowing the pressure in the line. He knows how to block. He's a good defender. The guy who we had, I don't even remember his name. Bro, I don't even remember the name. But Laramie Tunsil, something happened with his leg. He came back in the game. But before he came back in the game, we played literally 2 drives. Before he or 1 drive. Before 1.5 drives. Is it 1.5? Like one drive plus like 2 plays. Before he came out. The guy they replaced him with played better. Didn't get a single penalty. Blocked the same way. If not, I bet you he learned a thing or two from Laramie Tunsil in the aspect of how to block. Definitely not how to get penalties because he didn't get one. It's pathetic. It's insane. Actually, this might be the main rant. Laramie Tunsil, get your freaking act together. Like it was pathetic. It made me regret that he is literally okay. Let me put this in perspective, folks, because I don't think you get what I'm saying. Okay? Let me get this. Let me take a deep breath. Okay? I'm gonna pull up Laramie Tunsil's salary. Just to get you the aspect of everything. I'm sorry, that was a long break I got here. Laramie Tunsil is the 5th most highest ranking tackle paid in the NFL. There's only 4 tackles ahead of Laramie Tunsil. Those tackles are Tristan Wirfs of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Penei Sewell of the Detroit Lions, Trent Williams of the San Francisco 49ers, and Christian Darrisaw of the Minnesota Vikings. Laramie Tunsil is 5th. Below him, just one spot, is Andrew Thomas of the New York Giants. Here's the crazy thing. Laramie Tunsil makes $25 million a year based on his contract. My God, he should only be making 10 with how much fucking penalties he's getting. It's getting fucking annoying. It is The most pathetic thing I've ever seen in the game of football is a grown man who doesn't know how to fucking play the position he's played. The dude got a penalty last week when we lost to Minnesota for being too far behind the line. Too far behind the line, folks. I don't know if you understand how football works. And maybe you're listening to this podcast and you have never watched a game of football in your entire life. Maybe that could be the case. So let Derik sit here and explain to you what it means. A lineman stands on the line in a squat position, actually not even squat, more like an attack squat position, with his hand on the turf, usually probably both. Sometimes though, like Larry, because of the position he plays, his hands aren't actually on the turf. He's kind of leaning on his legs, and it is all about pushing the person you're lined up against to keep them away from your quarterback. That is position. That's what it means to be an O lineman. How the hell are you supposed to push the guy you're lined up against if you're 2 yards behind the line? At that moment, I contemplated why we're paying this guy $25 million a year to be a lineman. And his words just made me upset. Let me pull up the words that Larry Tunsil stated. Let me get this statement up. We're gonna go on a bit of a rant about the Houston Texans. Okay. Larry Tunsil had a lot of false starts last week against Minnesota. His words against Minnesota, false starts. I want people to understand we all have to be on the same. Yeah, he actually. This is not even a joke. He literally started with false starts. He didn't even start with let's talk about it. He literally just started false starts. I wanted people to understand we all have to be on the same communication. Oh shit! I messed up the statement. Yo, why am I like? I can't speak today, folks. Let's restart. False starts. I want people to understand we all have to be on the same communication. I will take accountability because they are calling me my name, but it takes all of us. Doesn't sound like that at all. It does not sound like an apology. It sounds like you can fuck off. To be blunt. Now there was no Tank Dell, which means somebody had to step up, and the step up was Nico Collins. Nico Collins' stats, by the way, is crazy. 12 receptions for 151 yards today with 1 TD. I've never seen crazier stats. There had to be someone step up because Tank Dell was out. Nico Collins did, and it's not a shocker. He should be a top 5 wide receiver. Win the game 24-20. That's the good part. Next week is a little bit rough. Next week is going to be crazy. So the Houston Texans should be glad they played the Jags last week or this game because it's going to be a shit show next week, in my opinion. So let me just talk about it. We're going to play the Bills next week in Houston, which is a little bit of an up because we're in Houston, home turf. But then we go to Foxborough to play the Patriots the week after. So I mean, the Bills, you got to focus up here. The good thing, we can technically afford to lose that Bills game because right now we are the best record in the AFC South. We lead our division. We're 3-1. The Colts are below us at 2-2. The Titans are 0-3, and the Jags are 0-4. Not a shocker that the Colts are the only team challenging us because the Titans and the Jags suck. Can't say much though because we barely beat a team that sucks and is 0-4 in our own division. I won't complain there, I won't try to argue there. But if you look at the Texans in an aspect of the game of football, I will not be completely lying to you when I say I think the Texans need to get their head out of their ass and play some goddamn football correctly. And, yeah, I'm sorry for a lot of swearing today. I'm very passionate about what has transpired in the world of football. That's about it. The Texans need to work on. We're the most penalized team in the league. One of the most penalized teams, if not the most penalized team. Texans need to work on a lot of shit. And one of them is stop getting stupid penalties. That is literally just play your position. Don't false start. A lot of false starts. Don't false start. For the love of God, do not false start. Secondary, you're doing your job. I'm not going to lie. But you're keeping guys open. Need to lock them down here. Actually, we had a really great secondary here today against the Jags, only allowing 20 points. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was only 2 touchdowns they allowed. I'm not gonna lie. They did a good job. They did a good job today. D'Amico, I know you're not listening to this, but D'Amico Ryan's head coach of the Houston Texans. If you are, don't start Laramie Tunsil against the Bills. For the love of God, please do not start him against the Bills. Please, for the love of God. Please, for the love of God. Please, don't. D'Amico, I'm begging you. I will literally get on my hands and knees right now and start praying. I'll start praying like heck. Do not, for the love of God, put Laramie Tunsil against the Bills. He costs too many penalties. Is he a great lineman? Yes. But can we afford to have those penalties? No, when you're playing a defense like Buffalo Bills, you cannot afford to have penalties like that, especially even though you're on home turf. They will still get hyped up about that shit. Do not play Laramie Tunsil. Put in the backup. I don't even remember his last name. I think his last name was Hunter. But just for the love of God, do not put Laramie Tunsil in. That's all I have to say. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay. That will be the end of this because I can't rant anymore. Alright guys. Look, I hope you guys have a great week. I know you guys are listening to this on a Monday, so I hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys stay safe and keep living the dream, boys. That's all that matters. And at the end of the day, if you're having fun, you're having a good day. Until then, guys, this is Derik Clark, aka Mini Doc, signing out, boys. Peace.